So, this weekend, there's going to be a new dungeon for Ashes of Creation called the Befallen Forge. And while we don't have all the details yet, it's already creating a lot of buzz in the Discord community for Ashes of Creation. And I started to ask myself, why is it doing that? Why are people excited about this dungeon this weekend? And I think it's because it's more of just the dungeon itself, because it's not just another piece of content for PvE players. It really is a chance to show what Intrepid Studios has been doing for Ashes of Creation to prove that it can deliver the kind of dungeons we want to run over and over again. And let's be real, dungeons are one of the biggest important things in MMORPGs. I could say that how many times I've enjoyed my time in World of Warcraft, especially in Classic, where it was the memories that I had with my friends, the nostalgia, getting the cool loot, people screwing me over, I'm screwing them over. It's a beautiful time. I'm not going to lie to you right there. I'm sounding like an Italian stallion. Settle down, I'll kiss you. However, though, you know what I'm getting at. All I'm saying is dungeons are a great experience overall, and I really like that, Ashes of Creation is taking the next step forward into delivering even the smallest snippet, if it's not even fully completed, this dungeon this weekend for us to try out. But I think it's important for us to know what, the Befallen Forge is even all about. So let's talk about that. So what do we know about the Befallen Forge? From what they're saying, at least in the devcast, it's set in the volcanic depth of Vera. And from the artwork, at least from what I've been finding and just putting two and two together, it's shaping up to be like this ominous molten labyrinth from what I'm assuming they were saying. They were saying it's a very lava-based area, and I'm thinking dwarves in an undercity. I'm thinking also my time in other games where you have, a dwarven district, and, it's very possible it could be very mechanical, very, iron, material-based, and there is a lot of, machines possibly down there. That's my assumption so far. So maybe there's ancient guardians or some type of cursed machinery, or maybe even a living furnace ready to devour us or some type of shit like that, which I'm really looking forward to if that's the case. But in reality, though, I'm thinking from what they've been saying is that, the new race coming out with the dwarves, right? And these dwarves work down there underneath the Castle Calamir, which the Befallen Forge is set placed in, and they probably gathered materials and resources for the capital, and something dark and evil was happening. They ran out, they boarded the place up, and this is the weekend for us as the players to go discover it, right? And see what lies down there. And even Steven Shreve said that there is undead dwarves down there, and there's also something called a Dracolich, which he did confirm, which I looked up, and it was just like a cosmetic pet. But then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do a little bit more research and try to find some more stuff out. And a Dracolich from at least, Dungeons and Dragons is a dead dragon that was reanimated into a stronger dragon and basically has a new set of powers along with the abilities it had from before it died. So it's an undead dragon, and it got raised by some type of, caster, which I'm assuming if a caster made the dragon reborn again, there's probably casters within this underground area as well. So I think there's going to be a multitude of different style enemies. I cannot wait to, adventure through and see what lies down there. I cannot wait to see the style of artwork and the ambiance of music down there as well, including the loot and treasures that lie away every corner and the enemies, right? Whether it's big AoE fights or single targets, I think it's going to be a really fun time. And to be honest with you, I'm only speculating like the mechanical parts and the bosses, you know what I mean? Like, I think the most important thing overall, more than anything, is that the atmosphere needs to hit. You know what I mean? A great dungeon isn't about just like the fights. It's about the world building, the tension, the sense of accomplishment. And when you finally make it to the end, it feels fulfilling more than anything. And I want to talk about why, in my opinion, dungeons matter so much. Dungeons and other MMORPGs shine for a really good reason, and people enjoy them. So, I want you to think about your favorite dungeon runs. It's not just about the loot, but, the memories that you've had with those people along the way. Whether it's from older MMOs and, that you haven't played in such a long time, but you grasp onto those nostalgia and those moments that you had in the past, or it's a newer MMOs that you're enjoying currently right now. The first time you and your friends barely scrapped against the final boss, or when you wiped like 5 times in a row, but you still come back because it's worth it and it's just that fun. That's what dungeons offer in games that make it so, enjoyable, and wants to, have a good moment for you to stay with your friends and just embrace the moment of being in there right now and not like worrying about, what's going on tomorrow or going on the day before, but you're just grasping onto the idea of just having a good time. And that's what it's all about to me. Like, for example, in Classic WoW, I loved going through the dungeons over and over again. I can play Classic WoW right now for like the very first time and just still enjoy the moments and the people that I'm playing with. And it's not because the dungeon just necessarily only being the good part, but it's about the community that I'm going in there with, you know what I mean? The people along the way. But I feel like more than anything, if the dungeons replicate that feeling that I got, especially even from like Classic WoW, like Scarlet Monastery or Black Rock Depths, right? And these are, phenomenal dungeons, well designed, beautiful artistic, pieces of work in Classic WoW that I've thoroughly enjoyed. Then I cannot wait to see what Ashes of Creation is doing this weekend with just one of their dungeons that they have to do. And this is just only one thing amongst many other dungeons to come that I hope to reciprocate that same feeling of just enjoying it for the first time or just enjoying a dungeon overall with my buds as we continue through the game. And I think Befallen Forge is going to matter a lot no matter what to a lot of PvE players. So let's discuss why I think that is. I think for PvE players, for a lot of people, dungeons are their home. Not everybody wants to dive into PvP or worry about like the chaos of like doing open world activities. For them, it's more about just teamwork and exploration and some type of good story or lore in that place, that why they enjoy doing that dungeon so much. And Befallen Forge, it really isn't just a regular dungeon. But for me personally, the way I look at it from like a business standpoint and also a future standpoint of the game's better development overall, it's a promise. It's a promise that Ashes of Creation will care about its PvE audience and that it can create content worth the time and effort for the energy that you put in as a player, and it's respective of your time in doing so. So I really feel like this is the biggest opportunity for Intrepid Studios to say, listen, we care about our player base in more ways than none, and we want to, fully help out our PvP side, because I know we're trying to make the game PvP centric as well, with a lot of PvP activities, embedded into the system of like the nodes and the guild wars and a lot of things that they're offering with the caravans as well. But we also want to cater to our PvE player base and let them know there is a rich, growing lore here, and there is a lot of explanation to a lot of things with why this capital was not doing as well, why this dungeon is here, or why this dungeon exists in the first place, and it's thriving with dangerous enemies here that needs to be slain, and we need a band of heroes to go there and conquer every foe there and gather the sweet treasures of loot that lie await for our heroes to come. And I'm just looking forward to the magnitude of amazing content that they are going to do in the next weeks and months to come. And I think this is just the first stone of many other stones that lie awake for Ashes of Creation to really set the path to something better. And I want to talk about also what makes dungeons unforgettable in the first place. So what makes a dungeon unforgettable, right? It's not just the challenge, because we all know the challenge is a portion of it, but I feel like it's also how it makes you feel as a person playing the game. Not only does the atmosphere pull you in, but the mechanics keeps you on your toes, the rewards that you get, the feeling that it's worth every wipe that you're doing, every strategy session, every single step into the unknown if you never even touched that dungeon before, and different ways of approaching the game overall. And especially if you're playing a new class within that dungeon for the first time, it's just a nice experience to experiment with. And I feel like, honestly, Befallen Forge will be that kind of dungeon. I feel like there's the potential, once the game is fully developed and it has everything fixed out, the bugs, the issues, any patch that it has to provide, or just fixing the dungeon overall, Befallen Forge can be one of those stepping stone dungeons in the better enrichment of Ashes of Creation's fully published game once it's out, to be remembered as a really amazing time for the players to enjoy this rich, in-depth, quality-based dungeon and likes of other dungeons that we've seen in other MMOs in the past. And that's what I'm really hoping towards the future for the game pushing forward, is what I meant to say, is that I think that is basically what is the best thing about, trying this dungeon out this weekend, is because we have the opportunity to do so. And it's a really rare moment to try this. And I'm really looking forward to it more than anything. But let me wrap it up in a nutshell like this. The truth is this, plain and simple. This isn't just about the dungeon. It's about the trust between Intrepid Studios and the PvE player base. And where to see where their minds are at, where to see where their heads are at when it comes to the development of this game that we all are enjoying and trying to, give feedback every day to improve the quality of it in the long run. And I really feel like it's very important for them to take this feedback with consideration, especially after we do the dungeon, whether we like certain things about it, whether we don't like certain things about it. It's very important for them to heed to this feedback, because I think this is the way that the game gets better in the long haul. And once they, continue to craft and improve upon this dungeon, even after the bugs, because we all know there's going to be problems, but even after that, I think it's important to take that same idea and that same mentality of what we worked with this dungeon and push on to the future and forward with other dungeons as well, to create the better longevity of, quality and insurance between your player base and the developers for a better game overall. And that's really what I want to talk to you guys about today, because I'm going to be grinding my ass off for this weekend. So it probably won't be no new video right off the rip until I really grind my character and get him to the place I need to be, so I can, pump out another video for you guys. But we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll do a path video, or maybe we'll do another Ashes video sooner than we think, or another video overall. So much love to you. Keep on keeping on. It's a short one for today. And as always, have a damn good one.
Make sure to take your Mucinex sore throat medicine when you start to act up and talk shit in the comments below, so Papatello will slap a bitch.